probably the most important question that most sellers have if they're thinking about selling, besides how much my home is worth: how much does it cost to sell my home? Most people considering selling their home are expecting to walk away with a big check. And I'm not saying you won't, you absolutely will. But the truth is, selling your home costs money. And for most sellers, the total price tag can be more than expected. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how much it costs to sell your home step by step so you're not caught off guard. I'm talking about commissions, prep work, moving, everything involved in the selling process. So as most people know, commission is going to be your biggest expense. And right now in today's market, the average commission paid between two agents typically is a total of 5%. So what that means is that, let's just say you have $1 million property. The total commission at the end of the day when you close is gonna be $50,000 on average. And that number is typically factoring in two agents, a listing agent and a buyer's agent. Although the average is 5%, that number is still a negotiable item, but it's always gonna be, well, typically gonna be the lion's share of the cost. Now in 2025, we've had some positive changes in how buyers' commissions are paid. So this is a really, really good change. Now, buyer's agent's commission is now transparent and negotiable, and it's actually written into the offer that you receive. Previously, you were agreeing to a certain commission regardless of what offer you receive. So here's a quick tip. So when you receive an offer, before you accept that offer, have your agent reach out to escrow or title, or they can even do it themselves, but provide a net sheet for you that is based off that exact offer that you receive. A net sheet is a breakdown of all the cost and the exact number that you will net based on that offer. So now that we've talked about how commissions work, let's move on to some of the costs that are involved when you're getting ready to list your home. Most sellers spend their money on landscaping, cleaning up their house, staging or prepping for staging, things like that. And this number can range greatly depending on what needs to be done, what repairs need to be done to your home, how big your lot is, how big your home is, and this can range from maybe a couple $1,000s to a lot more. Another thing a lot of sellers like to do is do major repairs before they sell. New roof, foundation stuff, things like that. Now, these can be very expensive. And what I would suggest before you start doing these things on your own, call your real estate agent, get him over to the house and have him advise you, him or her advise you on if this is something that should be done now or if you should put it on the market and negotiate it in escrow. In any market, presentation matters. Whether it's a good market or a bad market, presentation matters. Now, every property is different, but what I can tell you is that most of the time when I meet with sellers, the thing that we do the most is take what we have and make it presentable in its best form, rather than putting a whole bunch of money into the property. Let's clean it up, get your curb appeal good, your first impression good, and work with what we have. That's usually the best option. And if you're curious about the best upgrades to make, the top 5 upgrades to make, and the 5 things that you shouldn't do, I made a video for that, so check it out after this one. And the biggest tip I can give you is before you start doing anything to your home, call your real estate agent, have them come over and tell you what exactly you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, because they know what's important to buyers. So moving on, let's talk about logistics, holding costs, moving, things like that. If you're someone that's planning or needing to hire a moving company, here's what I suggest. They can be very expensive. Before you start doing anything, have at least 3 moving companies come out and give you quotes. Typically, the middle one is the best, but you need to make sure that they have their own insurance. And one mistake that I see a lot of sellers make is they hire a moving company and they pack them up themselves. But the moving company's insurance policy requires the moving company to pack them up. So now the seller has to unpack everything so the moving company can pack them up for them. If you're someone that's gonna move out of your house first and move into a new one, then sell this house, there's some holding costs that you have to factor in. So you have to factor in there's going to be a period of time to, let's say, period of time to prep the home, pictures, things like that your agent has to do before you get on the market. Once you get on the market, then there's going to be a period of time until you get an offer worth accepting. And then there's going to be a period of time of escrow before you close. So you have to factor in this period of time where you still have to pay your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, your utilities, things like that. So remember these things because you'll still have to pay for them. Pricing your home right can actually save you some cost. What I mean by that is when you price it right and it sells fairly quickly, your carrying cost is held to a minimum, plus you're maximizing the value of your home. Quick tip, if you're gonna hire some moving companies, before you start looking on your own, I would check with your real estate agent and see who they've worked with in the past, because they probably have some good ones. Next, if you're someone that's gonna sell your home while living in there, here are some costs you can expect. While not always out of pocket, there's some hidden expenses that you can expect. Well, including your time, your energy, you're having to constantly keep your house clean. That means hiring cleaners most times. Possibly boarding pets. You're probably gonna eat out a lot because we're gonna be doing a lot of showings. And the emotional cost is real. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of heart to keep your house in perfect shape for showings. Think about it this way. To maximize the most amount of money you will net when you sell your house, you might need to spend a little money now. And all I mean by this is your day-to-day costs might go up, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. You're gonna make more money when you sell your home. Next, we're going to talk about the dreaded request for repair. Once you're in escrow, the buyer typically has an inspection period. During that time, they're going to inspect your property and they're going to hire an inspector to point out every little negative thing about your property. After the inspection is done, typically the buyer asks for what's called a request for repairs. So things that pop up in your inspection, maybe things that you don't even know about, could be a concern to the buyer. And usually what happens is there's a renegotiation. So the buyer will typically get bids from contractors on things that they're concerned about with your house and ask for either repairs to be done from you or a credit in lieu of repairs. Now, this is not a fun process typically for sellers and real estate agents. And depending on a lot of things, including the age of your home, repairs that have been done over time, this can be very minor or something that's very costly. In most cases, I would recommend in the renegotiation offering a credit in lieu of repairs, but lean on your real estate agent depending on what the buyer is asking for. Lean on them to determine whether it's worth doing the repairs or giving a credit in lieu of repairs. Some of these major repairs are just gonna have to be dealt with whether we like it or not. Now, I'm not saying that this is something that you have to pay for. This is definitely a negotiable item within escrow. Now, the risk is that if we don't try to negotiate with the buyer, they could back out. If you're okay with that, no problem at all. In addition to these costs, there are some additional fees when you close escrow. So including escrow fees, title fees, transfer taxes, notary fees, courier fees, things like that. Now, it's different between companies, but typically I can tell you that to factor all those fees in, calculate between 0.5% and 1% of your purchase price. So in short, before you get started, talk to a real estate agent to help keep your cost, pre-sale cost, to a minimum. And before you decide to go on the market, have your real estate agent give you net sheets based on a couple different price points so you know exactly what the costs are going in. So I do this for my friends and clients almost on a daily basis. So if I can help you in any way or provide you any net sheets or information or anything like that, please reach out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.